This meeting is being recorded, however, and for your best interest, be careful what you say, and anything you share will be recorded and carried into posterity, I guess, right?
Live on in infamy.
And ridicule.
Well,
Minutes
that goes without saying.
from the 21st. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes of the 21st?
So
moved.
Second.
And any additions or corrections? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Perfect, unanimous. Anybody got any updates they want to share?
The paperwork for the reimbursement has finally been submitted for
Horseshoe?
Horseshoe.
And,
No. I
how
don't-
long will that take? No one
I
knows.
don't know. Hopefully not too long.
Month or two?
Hopefully.
Great.
That would be fabulous.
And were you weren't there when I talked to the finance committee.
I was there one time.
I went back.
Yeah, I got an email
It said that,
asking for.
June said that, I wanna get this right.
June said that Maddie said it hadn't been.
Right, but June also said that any money that was gonna be reimbursed from Horseshoe when it returned, if it was extracted from specific budgets, like open space,
Mm-hmm.
it would go into it and be available right off.
That's awesome.
So there's 48 and maybe there's 48, 56, and 17 or something like that.
Something like that. I need to look up the warrant articles again and get clear in my head.
And the rest wasn't, I mean, we.
It's still
it-
not clear what happens if more
but
money
it all
comes in
But, right. it-
than what we spent.
I think we only get what we spent, and then the rest goes somewhere else, probably to free cash.
Right.
But that's good that she submitted it.
Yeah, it's not 100% of the reimbursement because not 100% of the
Was
reimbursable
eligible.
is eligible yet, but it's the lion's share. It's like 863,000
Yeah.
or something,
I'll take it.
right? I'll even take it in big bills.
So, anybody else got any other committee updates, member updates? All right, administrative matters, we have to sign off on the expenditure for the computer for our able assistant.
We already voted on that, right?
Yep.
We just need to sign.
Yeah, that's all we need to do, because we have voted, so we don't need a vote. Do you agree, Maureen?
Yeah, this, Tim can sign anything that's 15.
You're gonna come?
Did
Yeah,
we vote on
yeah,
that?
We did.
Okay.
And anything higher, all of you need to sign.
All of us or three of us? Or-
I think we're gonna go with all.
Go with all.
Yeah.
As long as you have them.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Right.
better if everybody says.
We'll flood them
Right,
with
then if the town
signatures.
clerk declares some illegal thing, we'd still be fine, hopefully.
And as I understand it, every fiscal year, there should be a vote for who the signer is, so.
Yeah, that makes
Right.
sense.
Right, yeah, you can't just vote the position. You have to vote the person.
And every
Yes.
fiscal year.
Because you do that, right?
Yep. Nice. Did you used to bartend?
No, but I always thought that was a cool move.
Right?
Well, you have my
Is that
vote
it for
now.
administrative
Okay.
matters? No, there's nothing else, is there?
There's nothing else other than,
Public input.
no, you can probably tell them that the warrant stuff went into, that's the only other thing.
Did you ever clarify that we're not buying the house
Mm-hmm,
to community, capital planning?
mm-hmm. Well,
I haven't typed.
no, I've met with finance, I haven't met with capital planning again.
Okay,
If they see the finalized warrant, they'll see. Has the finalized, it's gone to the printer. Did we all see a finalized?
no, but it would have had the original amount, you can always go lower, you just can't go higher.
We put in an article that just talks about the open space for 125, so. So,
Is-
With the well?
Right,
There's a
so,
draft online.
so
hmm,
the
There's a draft online,
draft of the,
warrant
Warrant.
articles.
oh,
so there'll be a CR written.
after,
It says,
We own the property.
authorize the town administrator, the select board, and/or the conservation commission as applicable to enter into all agreements and execute any and all instruments as may be necessary or appropriate to effectuate the foregoing acquisition, and further as required by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44B, Section 12A, to authorize the select board to convey to qualified organizations and/or reserve a perpetual conservation restriction on the open space parcel. And when they write that, that's when they'll include language that deals with the well.
You better.
oh, indeed, yeah, I'm like, that's,
Well, I know all the grief we had getting Northbrook 2, and, you know, you have to have a 100-foot buffer, and then you have to have an existing, and center of town is congested for Berlin.
right, but there aren't really any wetland, well, there's on the backside, but certainly more than 100 feet away.
Yeah, you're just saying it's an ideal spot to think about, so we don't wanna pass up the opportunity.
Right.
So maybe in the, I'm trying to think of the description we wrote initially, probably has been dumped, and there probably isn't a new one.
Well, the warrant article can clarify that.
Right, so, in your explanation,
Right.
you can say something about that.
Yep.
So that's that article, and the other two are the simple ones for the pavilion and the fence, and those were submitted a long time ago and haven't been modified. This one got juggled around as time passed, so.
Has any of our money been further updated?
I mean, in terms of what's available.
Mhm.
So there's there's 48,000 available in open space, so 45 will come out of that for the fence. And then the 150 that's needed for the pavilion is available out of budgeted reserve, because budgeted reserves got somewhere around 3 whatever. And then the 125 will come out of budgeted reserve for the open space. So that means we'll spend 275 out of budgeted reserve, and we've got over 300 in that, so we don't tamper with anything else. And then housing has 190, and we're not touching that this time. And then historic has, they tapped into a little, so, I mean, they may have 35 or 40 or something like that.
Yeah, but none of them are down to zero,
None are down to zero, and all will be
replenished.
with 60 plus, which we're not touching. Last year, we used a little of open space and a little of historic, as I recall, from 23. Although it didn't get expended out of historic, and as a result, this year, adding the 60 is gonna mean that we're gonna go into fiscal 25 with, if we go into Maytown meeting next year, we'd be in good shape. And we've got some latitude if something serious came up in the next 6 months and we needed to do something in the fall. And Kristen, the other day, said she's pretty confident there'll be a fall town meeting, so.
Good.
Yeah,
That'd
she
be
was
good.
talking
Yeah.
about November.
What is that a draft of?
Minutes.
Oh, never mind.
Who were you worried about?
No, I had a thought, and I just want to make sure that we put a warrant article on for the estimated money for next year, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I just, for whatever reason, couldn't remember
No, we've got,
that
we've got,
happening
we've
and,
got an article that takes all those funds and allocates them into the appropriate buckets, the
Okay.
10%, and then the administrative, and then the budgeted reserve is everything else. And then we also have an article that goes back in time to fiscal '22 and takes the money that wasn't allocated,
the
the
addition,
buckets.
yeah, yep,
because we took in more than we estimated
Yep.
in fiscal '22, and so when we voted to put the money, the 10%, we were short by, we took in another, whatever, so we ended up $10,000 plus
Okay.
into each one of the buckets. That's an article. Then there's the one for this fiscal year, and then there's the three for
Okay.
for the projects.
just making sure.
And-
All of a sudden, I'm like, ah.
And, I think what we'll do is, I can just make a general statement about where we are and the fact that our goal is still to leverage whenever we can, and we've been successfully leveraged the open space funds, cause a substantial amount of that's coming back. But then the projects will be presented, the motions made and the explanations by the advocates. So, we want Maureen to send a note to REC and to Carl and Ag Commission and just say, they're your motions and your explanations, and we'll introduce the whole process, but after that, it's up to them. Is that all right?
Yep.
Cause it should be, I mean, they understand why they've written them, and,
It's their projects.
Yep,
and we can help back them up if, there's some question that needs clarification, but I would think they'd be pretty fine. They should be all right. Cause these aren't complex.
no,
It's not like buying 100 acres of land.
over 2 town meetings.
Well, it was more complicated when we were proposing the house, but
Yeah,
now that
Yeah.
we've carved that out, I think it is pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Yep,
It might be worthwhile for them to bring a picture. I mean, everybody knows what fencing is, but what the shade pavilion will look like.
yeah, that's planning board, so. Maybe we've got Central Mass doing a map for the planning board article for the ARC, the agriculture, recreation, conservation parcels, but we could ask Matt to include the parcel that we're focusing on 72 Carter, so we could bring that up when that article comes up, and people could see exactly what the,
oh, yeah, it's a good idea.
Visuals help.
Yeah, and then if rec wanted to like blow something up and do a poster board or in the hall or something.
Well, just to be able to say this is
Yeah.
where it's going.
Yep,
Yeah, no, I think that would be helpful.
yep.
yeah.
A lot of times people will maybe PowerPoint their application to a more presentable meeting type thing too, so.
Right.
Oh, right, you said Kristen was gonna have the projector set up.
Kristen's gonna have it set up, so you can tell people if they wanna share
Yeah,
anything
like
on
I'm
the.
sure Bob Holmes could probably
Right.
figure that out in a minute. Carl sounds like he can too.
So her computer's gonna be up and running, and she said we could tag onto hers with
Right.
whatever we wanted to present.
Right, cause
Anyway.
Bob already has a PowerPoint, he could probably just make it a little
Yeah.
bit more
Yeah.
directed
Yeah.
towards, yeah,
More of a presentation.
Right.
So in your note, you can just say, yeah, you've already done it.
And then the other thing
She's
is,
ahead.
Wayne and I are gonna maybe try to work on a little blurb for, as the select board asked you, a summary
A summary, yeah.
kind of thing.
Yep, a
75
one-pager.
pages, so.
Yep.
That's the other thing for town meeting.
Yep.
Maybe we put it on some colored paper.
Ooh.
That looks on paper. Yeah.
We talked about your meeting with the select board the last time we met, didn't we?
We did, yep.
So that's done.
Yep.
Any other updates that people have? Administrative matters, we're all set then on that? There's no public to have input, yes?
I think so.
So, because I came late, so we are splitting off that parcel, it's just.
So we're just splitting it off.
Great.
And so,
Sorry
Dillis
I'm late.
and Roy are drawing up the plan. The planning board will sign it on the 25th. The homeowners are fine with that. They'll take the parcel that has the house and they'll sell that independently on their own.
Great.
And we'll just pick up the,
We're paying for the survey
We're-
out of CPA administrative funds.
right, so we should have a motion
Right.
to do that. And we're paying for, yeah, so we need two motions. One is, we're gonna spend somewhere around $2,000 for the survey to separate the two parcels. So we want a motion to spend up to, why don't we say 2,500, and then we're safe.
So moved.
In case they run into a
Excuse
problem.
me, so moved.
And do we have a second? Any discussion on that? So basically, drawing up the plan, we gave them an outline of what we wanted to separate. So all the frontage, 200 feet, actually, it's 199 inches. Because they sent the letter and said it doesn't have 200 feet of frontage, and I thought, everything we've looked at says 2.
Yeah,
But they said, no, it's short by a few inches. And I said, oh, the
Please.
planning board's not gonna worry about that.
right.
So, so we separated out about 82,000 square feet, somewhere around that, with 200 feet of frontage. And so it goes straight back at a slight angle. And there's an abrupt jog halfway up the property, and we've just used that as the back lot line.
Did you give us an easement to go over the,
And then we've got
Yep.
the 30-foot easement, which takes you from the lot line with Spalding to close to the garage. So basically, that 30 feet would be available. And then, once you get off of the property, we've got a 60-foot buffer between the lot line with Spalding and the new lot line for the house. So we'd have 60 feet of width going to the point where we really expand out into the property. And then all the western side of the property becomes town, and then when we get back, probably 400 feet maybe, we balloon out into the whole width, all the way to the back, to Wiedemann's essentially, because it builds up to the point where it gets to theirs. So any other discussion on that one? All right, so we'll vote, all those in favor of expending up to 2,500 for the plan, the survey work by Dillis and Roy,
Out of the
Aye.
administrative
out
fund.
of administrative funds.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then, Kristen asked if we would take our administrative funds to pay for town council's review of any of the warrant articles for CPA. And because one was a back and forth in regard to the land, we said, yeah, we could probably pull that off. So we need a motion, although we don't know what that's gonna
Right,
be.
we don't have an
I mean, no.
$100?
Max, that's it. That's gonna buy us
I
15
suppose
minutes, maybe.
That one's a little different, so maybe, so that you're warned that that's gonna happen. Eventually, we'll see a bill. So we can deal with that then. We don't, it's not gonna change anything if we vote on it. So those are those two items.
Right, and
So we should, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, and to clarify, we used Dillis and Roy because they did the original subdivision plan for
That
the,
property?
for the property.
Right.
So they had the files, so we figured it would be the cheapest
Oh,
if
sure.
they did it. And it, $2,000 is pretty good.
Cheap enough.
Yeah, when we called them and said, your name's on the plan, would you be willing to work with us? They said, well, let's look at what the plan already has, and they said, oh, wow, for a subdivision plan, it's pretty thorough.
Yeah.
And so we're far ahead of where we would have been if we needed to
Great.
do it from scratch, so we can do this, cause all they're doing is 3 internal lines really, and,
Right.
and, checking out distances,
Yes,
setbacks.
but they are professionals and will charge accordingly.
all good.
Sure. That's why $2,000 instead of $200.
So we should probably vote on the 3 articles again, one of which we've modified, just to clarify that that's the same position.
Maureen is questioning your
If
decision.
That's good, letter.
Do we need to do the ones that aren't, are they all changing?
No, they aren't, so maybe we just need to do the one. What does Maureen say?
Why don't you read what's in those minutes there? Instead of giving Kristen the drafts. I said, Kristen, I promise I'll send them to you right after, like at 8:30 on the 4th. And she said, oh, please send me the draft. So if you look at.
So if we accepted the minutes, we may have already done it,
That's
is
what
what
I'm
you're saying?
thinking, yeah. If you like it.
So Carol made a motion to amend the previous CPAC recommendation regarding the town acquiring the property at 72 Carter Acquire. So, actually, that one's already done the right way, and the 150's done the right way, and the fence is done. So if everybody agrees with Maureen's interpretation that
That we've already
that we've
accepted
already
the
accepted
amended
the amended
motions.
because we've done it and we've voted the minutes.
Well, she's a professional and we are paying
Right,
her
and
for
so-
her expertise, so I think it would be appropriate to defer to her
We don't
judgment.
want to,
Right.
we don't
But-
wanna get her
Since we
upset with us,
approved,
that's for
since we
sure.
approved it,
Right, so at the last meeting, we voted to
We
accept
did
the
it.
changes.
Yep.
And then tonight, we voted to accept the minutes that accepted the
To change it,
changes.
so we're square.
Right.
You agree, Maureen?
I do, that sounds like a plan, Tim.
it's good that we're consistent.
Any
Right,
more on,
exactly.
any other
I'd
questions on the warrant?
My MO with conservation is, we've already voted on this 11 times, but we're voting again, just because I can't tell you how many times it's like, well, you left out this word
Oh, yeah.
in the motion,
Yeah.
so we just keep voting on everything.
No, I think Maureen's right, we're square. The only thing I worry about is that if the warrant included the old explanation of the 72 Carter Street one, people are gonna read it and say,
Be
what does
what?
this mean? Cause I'm trying to remember if we rewrote did we rewrite?
Well, you
the-
said the draft is online
Yes.
on the town website?
29 or something like that?
With the
Oh,
other
that's planning
motions
board.
about money on there as well, because I did not get to read it. You know how you were questioning, oh, did the,
Oh, yeah,
Where are
they'll
those?
be on the warrant,
oh,
yeah,
from before.
yep.
Where's it under, the select board?
I don't know, I just had it.
Oh, you did?
Is it on the main page? Usually,
I just Googled it.
Virtual, all things town, in-person credit, Moses Reed Tyler, Code Red, annual town meeting, annual town election.
That's what it was, annual town meeting.
Final town meeting warrant is also available.
That's it.
Ooh, perfect.
So does the final include that or the old description?
That's what we're gonna find out, won't we? Uh-oh, drum
So then
roll.
we'll have to modify it.
we're gonna have to come, when the printed ones get here, come and Sharpie out
Start.
everyone.
Fence is there and fine.
Uh-oh. Furrowed brow.
Oh no, they're way up here, Community Preservation Act transfer of funds. That's the 10,000. Establishment, that's weird. Oh, so those are,
They're not together?
so that's there. Amend revolving, establish revolving.
Which is interesting, because they are doing a coffee talk,
There's that.
the 20th.
Yeah, I just saw
to
that
go
today.
over the warrant, so it might be healthy for somebody
What day of the week is that?
125.
Thursday,
Thursday.
right, and I
There's the
already have
motion.
something scheduled for that night.
6.5.
And
So
I
there it
really
is.
should
Everything's right.
try to be there for the land
Finalize
thing.
acquisition of 6.5.
Hmm?
That was the amount
Is
they
it all
agreed on.
in one?
It's on, the
125.
yeah, but it's
I'm sorry,
a,
it was late
another meeting.
And you can
150
give
for
them a
that.
summary or an
for
update.
that.
That's the pavilion.
Right.
They're all in, right?
Actually, yeah, if someone from
We're on a
CPA
roll.
is gonna be there,
How often does that happen, right?
maybe I could write something that somebody could read.
When is it?
April 20th.
Who's going?
Well,
Nobody.
What time on the 20th?
I think
7,
7:30 maybe?
Is it
yeah.
7 or
6:30.
7?
6:30.
6:30.
I'll still be at work.
Yeah, 6:30.
Nothing to me for.
On the 20th?
Because you're the
Are you
last
going?
one.
You going?
I
I'll be in
have,
Santa
I have
Barbara.
another meeting that was scheduled like a month and a half ago for that night,
What day is
because
that?
it was hurting like, it was like herding
The
cows.
20th?
Thursday,
You're going.
on Zoom.
I'll be in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
You can Zoom from Santa Barbara.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can.
just account for the time
He
difference.
doesn't want to.
Yeah, it'll be the middle of the afternoon.
Mhm.
I can go.
Hey!
Thank you, Wayne.
Sure. Still want me after my last one. If I show up on time, we'll be all set.
Why were you late for,
Uh,
oh no.
just me.
Everything on the warrant looks good.
I mean, I don't think there'll be lots of questions. Maybe there will be.
Housing coordinator.
Well, you and I'll talk before then.
The Housing Trust formed, they met last week. 4 people are present. Eloise is in the wings.
I am awaiting a written something from the ethics board.
But you think it's gonna be positive, based on preliminary
I
explanation?
think so, but until I actually see it, I don't wanna
Right.
shoot myself in the foot.
And so, Scott Hawkins is on the committee and on the trust, and he will represent the town in the meetings with Central Mass regarding the, use of a housing coordinator that they'll hire. And so, they want someone from each of the 5 towns to participate in the discussions about, reviewing who they might hire and then conversations about how that's all progressing and stuff. So Scott will do that for the town.
Awesome.
And we had a contract for the first year, which is free, and Kristen signed that and sent that in today. And we met with the other 5 towns, which is Shrewsbury, Auburn, Upton, no, Mendon. Mendon, Shrewsbury, Auburn, Grafton, and maybe one other and us. So there's
Huh.
5 anyway, mostly bigger towns.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
And the individual will start 1st of July. They'll work primarily from their office at Central Mass. But they'll be here, as needed, so they participate in committee meetings. And I think the committee right now has decided to meet monthly, the trust. But they may decide to meet more as they get involved in some of these opportunities.
And I was told Lisa is the chairman,
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So Lisa's chair, and
and
Kate is gonna
Kate-
represent
Kate Cooper is, I guess, the clerk.
clerk, and Kate Hendrick.
Hendricks.
Yeah, so
Lauren.
Lauren is the clerk, and then Kate Hendrick is gonna represent us at the Assabet Regional Housing Commission
Oh, good.
Consortium. So she'll attend those meetings. Scott will deal with the Worcester Central Mass stuff. They'll have the benefit of a coordinator starting 1st of July, which is fairly short-term away, so, they're in good shape.
Awesome.
They can do some fun stuff, I would think.
So what time did I agree to on the 20th?
6:30 on Zoom.
Oh, all right.
But,
I'm just making sure, because and I know where, and so it's on Zoom, I'm not showing up somewhere
right,
beautiful.
and they're gonna take the warrant in order,
Oh,
so
that's all right.
you have like until
You might be 10 o'clock.
6.
Beautiful. I'll just shut my camera off and
Yep,
I'm, whatever.
Well,
Are we gonna need to give any, like, pictures of any of the stuff we were saying for the town meeting, or just discuss it?
no, they're gonna, usually what they do is they read the article and they say, you know, is anybody here that wants to speak to that? And you'll raise your hand and,
Like you said.
yeah, and, right, and you'll say, just kind of give an overview of, so I'll write something if you want, or we can go over, I mean, you're familiar but
Yeah, I'm
enough with the
familiar enough
project.
with them. Yeah, just
Right.
to be sure.
Kind of about how we got to just buying the land.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can explain that.
Right. And then Peg will have questions, because she always has questions. And then if
Shocker.
anybody else has questions, they'll ask, and then you'll answer them.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cut and dry.
It's all good.
Good,
Yeah.
thanks.
Well, I think it's a lot easier to explain Carter Street the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That it would have been all the bad things we were concerned about if it had been, because there would be questions you just can't anticipate. You
Right.
do a great job, so.
Did
I think it'll work out better for all the parties.
I agree.
It's way, way better.
Yep.
All right, now it's in there, and it's a Zoom. Where's that Zoom link gonna be posted? Select board? I'm guessing?
My town government, for sure.
No, I know.
Yeah, and it's on the town website too, I got it
It's
over
already
there.
there. All right,
Yeah.
I'll go searching.
And it will almost surely be posted on Berlin Neighbors Connect as well.
I can send you that.
I've
So
never-
Carter
I've
Street,
never really seen
Carter
that
Street's at the
somewhere.
top.
Is that the
And
subdivision
that's,
plan?
that's just the lot that we propose that they carve out.
Oh, right.
Here.
Yep. So this is the lot that the house would be on,
So where's?
and then the
this-
property
Yeah.
comes in, the easement's right here, and then it comes in from there, and then opens up to the back here, yeah.
Okay.
So the
Yeah,
majority,
it'd be good. to
cause if
see
this
it.
is 80,000 square feet, this is about 80, and that would mean that would be about 4 acres, and then there's another 4.5 back here, so there's this much space again.
Yeah, if I
Off
could-
the map, but I can send that to you, so
It'd be good if I could see something.
you can
yeah.
share that with folks if you want. That's just
I'm
the.
still a little
the-
confused.
The,
yeah.
the rough sketch that we,
Is this the
Right,
whole,
so-
is this the whole current one or not?
No.
No, this
This
is
is
that's
what's-
just the
what,
piece that we wanted
what the
to create.
lot will look like when the subdivision is done.
And this is what they'll be selling.
Yeah,
Correct.
And we'll- All right,
So
so we don't have a
Car-
picture of the
whoops.
whole.
Ah! So Carter Street
So we
is
don't have a
here.
picture of all of it.
There's the house, there's
I
the
could take
garage,
one.
and
And the
then
easement.
the
If we
easement,
could
right.
see the whole-
I know.
I lost
just
it, lost it.
Draw the line, I think.
yeah,
that
cause
might-
I've got that plan.
Oh, jeez.
What do we do?
If
I
you
don't
could.
know.
Tim, we just lost it.
Don't ask me, I don't understand how those things work. I was lucky I brought it up in the first place.
It's gone to camera for some reason.
Oh.
That is a picture, so it's in the camera, the photo, whatever, but there's only a handful of photos, so it's not like you're gonna scroll through a bunch of stuff.
There it is.
Okay, so
There you go.
Much better, all right.
Don't
All
touch
right.
it.
I know, right?
Keep your scrolly fingers
Right,
off.
so Carter Street is up at the top, and then you
Okay.
see the
You can see
house
the little house.
and the garage,
So that-
and then
so
the
that's-
easement carved out of the corner
Okay,
up there,
Did
and
you
then
say
the rest of it is
That's
the
it.
lot.
okay. Yeah, that's straightforward. There's only 27 articles on the warrant?
What?
There might be, I haven't seen the
Yeah,
warrant.
it's 27. The 27th is the town election.
So might we actually only have a single night?
No, that won't happen.
I think it will.
No, the school's got a whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but even still,
No, I think we can do it in a night. What else is it that's big?
that's, I mean, we've had town meetings with like 40 and 50
Yeah.
items.
The moderator runs a fairly tight ship.
Very.
Yep.
Well, we've got 5 articles out of 26, so that only leaves 21. Planning board's got 3, the roads, so that means 18.
Right,
So
and the first
and the
what?
first
8 or 10 are voted as
The-
one.
Yeah. the
Yeah,
normal.
but it's the
Yeah.
budget, I think, that's gonna generate the most, conversation.
I think things will get squared away.
I hope so. It improves the, quality of life in the town.
Bullet House historic, the restriction on the Bullet House, that's a no-brainer. Solar pilot agreements, isn't that authorization to proceed with highway roof solar project?
Right, so it's really just the budget.
And then-
Are we buying any public safety vehicles?
Oh, yeah.
Buying-
One of each?
We doing a fire truck?
They've asked
Yeah.
that we approve 880 for a new fire pumper truck a year earlier because it's taken 24 to 34 months for,
For an order.
it
Yeah.
to go through the process.
Wow.
See, the capital improvement plan got $1,791,000, so
We're just spending.
that's 13 items. So that's, but that's one, I mean, instead of doing one, I mean, that's a efficient way to do it. Good. All right, housing coordinator, next meeting,
Oh, sure.
Do we have,
we got a meeting scheduled for the 18th, which you can have, or May 16th after town meeting. Is there any reason to meet before the town meeting?
Now if we've got everything squared away.
We seem happy, right?
Yeah.
Are we happy?
I think we're good, I mean, I'll still be working on the application. The only thing is, why don't you throw out that date thing that we discussed the other day?
Well, we talked about,
Like, I walked away, like, having that open thing, and when you really look at how CPC works, it really is like almost a 6-month time period that you get applications. So I'd like to actually say June 1st to November 1st for application submittals versus that open-ended one.
instead of having it be a rolling application period?
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of rolling, because what ends up happening is no one approaches you at this period of time, because they just know that they've gotta wait for the next budget cycle. So it's great if you can start getting people in the summertime,
Right.
because especially when you get more complicated and there's gonna be these pending, like not yet finished stuff, and you're gonna really feel like, oh gosh, you know what, don't load it on. So if you have your mindset that this is the time period you'll be getting your applications, the community knows that, and then that's what they work with.
So June 1st to November 1st, so it's 5 months.
Or, yeah, well, we can make it, you could probably go to December 1st. Tim and I were talking not, so that depending on,
It's just be a busy time of year.
you know,
November 1st is so much easier.
I like November 1st too, because the only reason December 1st might be a little bit healthier is we should have our numbers from the state in November.
Right, at mid-November is usually
That-
when
so
we find out.
I was kind of throwing that back
Could
and
we
forth.
have language that states November 1st as a deadline, but makes a provision for, in extraordinary circumstances, a later?
Yes, and that is on the application already. And flexibility is fine, but I
Yeah.
think, you know,
Setting
Right, give
expectations
people
is good.
guidelines.
Yeah, so long as we're not forced into.
Because it's
Right.
not
Exactly.
only the people who want the programs or the whatever, it's the other people who then have to evaluate them in context of everything else in your budgets.
Yeah.
Now, the part about November 1st that still works though is that even though we don't get numbers from the state until later in November, we don't use those numbers for our proposals.
I know, but
Normally.
but you know what your replenishment is. Like, the word on
Right.
the street is that funding's not gonna be as strong
Right.
this coming fall.
It's gonna be a
So
big drop.
it kinda can give you kind of, you know, the more knowledge you have, the better decisions you can make.
Right,
Well, and we'll have that when we're making our decisions. It's just that
Right.
we'll tell people we want proposals before those numbers come in, and then we get our information that informs our discussion
But those
a
numbers,
couple weeks later
but those numbers are the matches, you mean from the state or from the collection?
from the state.
The
Yeah, but
state
But the
matches.
state money you can't spend anyways till the following fiscal year, right?
Correct.
So
And
it's-
any projects that we recommend at the spring, at the annual town meeting don't get funded until
July 1st.
July 1st also.
But you
Right.
can't-
But, so, I think, so what Maureen's saying is, you know,
I mean,
knowing
it's-
how much money you're gonna have,
that would.
helps,
that-
but what
that's-
Tim's-
But again, it's for the future, it's not,
right, and what Tim's saying is, we could accept 25 applications, but then when it goes to actually vote what to recommend to town meeting, we only vote what we have money for anyway.
right, because this whole process that we just went through with June to figure out exactly what was in there, that's not based on what the state's predicting for next year, it's all based on what they were funding us for this
Right.
year and
Right.
what comes back from the reimbursement and all.
Right.
But we'll know that
In advance of voting, for sure.
Right.
Just not the time of day.
So tell them.
In a perfect world.
Get your application in by the 1st of November, then we'll, if we meet the latter part of November before Thanksgiving gets too much in our face, and then again in early December, when things are kind of calm a little bit, we'd have our house in order because we'd begin to throw back at folks what they needed to come in with for further detail on their proposals. And then in January, they come back, give us updates like they did this year, and then we're set, because the warrants, obviously, the cycle they're on now is to have the warrant close a lot earlier than it used to. I mean, it was, what?
It's usually around Valentine's Day.
Yeah, but then when it
But
was
you
even
used
earlier
it-
this year.
Right.
And then
Well,
there-
it was the day before Valentine's Day, it was my birthday this year.
Oh.
But what we used to be able to do is put in placeholders or put in kind of vague language and tighten it up, and now they want it
well, I mean, here we are.
more.
3.5 weeks before town meeting, and the warrant's gone to the printer. We weren't on that tight a time schedule in the past either, so.
See, that's why I love dates.
I know.
But I mean, the thing too is, as we saw this year, it's like, it depends on what comes up. You can have somebody propose stuff and it all looks good, but then if you have only so many funds and so
Yeah.
much, you
Right.
know, and something that really is, time is of the essence, it could change your priority, so.
Right,
So, no need to meet on April 18th,
agreed,
so we're not gonna call a meeting for that.
agreed.
So the next one is
May
May
16th,
16th,
Where are you gonna be on the 18th?
I'll be in
California.
Lake Havasu.
Oh,
Arizona.
I've always wanted to see it, though.
I'm
You
gonna go
could
down
just-
to the
yeah.
London Bridge.
Nice. All right, so
London
I'm gonna
Bridge is in
delete
Lake
that.
Havasu,
I know.
Arizona. It doesn't make any.
Is it at 7:30?
7:30, right? That good? that's
Yeah,
still-
7:30.
It means that we get brownies, I mean.
Well, if we're in person, I mean,
No, we're not, we're done.
well, then,
We're not gonna be in
Yeah,
person
then no
for
snacks.
2 years, right?
Take your snack now.
Are people
Yeah.
happy doing it
Freeze
remote?
them if you have.
I mean, that's, I've assumed people are happy doing remote, is that true?
yeah, I think that,
Remote works.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
for what we generally don't need to do much except for talk, so.
I mean, conservation, you sign all that stuff, but, so, we're not physically signing a lot of things, so it's not like being there makes life easier.
Right. It is nice meeting in person, though.
yeah. I mean, all things being equal, I'm someone who likes in-person meetings, but they're just
Well,
such
we
a
can
utility to the.
We
to
can
the-
certainly do that on occasion,
Yeah,
you know,
but,
when we say,
Hybrid's always a great option, actually.
I mean,
I could post them as hybrid if you wanted, but then, I gotta get the meeting room, that's the challenge.
yeah.
Right, and
the
a
hybrid-
majority needs to, it needs to be a quorum
Right.
in the room,
if you have a hybrid.
right.
Um,
No.
But it is true that doing the remote makes life easier for you. And if we were to do a hybrid, you could still be remote,
Right.
which would be an objective, because then you wouldn't have to drive from
Or the
way
bad
over in
weather,
Littleton.
that's the only thing I worry about.
Right,
Bad
right.
weather.
Yeah, maybe if we just do, when there's gonna be a presentation, we have that happen in person.
Yeah, we could do like our meeting in, you know, if we're doing a meeting in late November, before Thanksgiving or whatever, when they're gonna come in and do their preliminary proposals.
Unless it's snowing.
Right.
We won't make Eloise go.
But see, I think the Zoom works great with the presentations with the share screen function.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's such an
Yeah.
asset to.
yeah, no,
schools.
I think it's been working out fine.
Well,
Yeah.
and then other people can participate from home that aren't on the committee too, so.
Right.
Planning board's found that to be true. I mean, there's a lot of people that zoom in for a minute, and engineers certainly appreciate it, not having to drive here
Right.
for 20 minutes of presentation and then drive back to Newton or something.
Especially because I make them come in for conservation, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have a motion to meet on the 16th of May,
Second,
and
I'll move it.
everybody fine?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Anything else? Not
Motion
bad.
to adjourn.
It's only 7:15. We,
Eight.
oh, eight.
Eight.
I was gonna say.
You didn't start until
I know,
7:30.
yeah, I was.
We went back in time.
I was,
Time warp.
I was looking forward to the fact that we met and
These
lost
are only
15
normal
minutes.
brownies. No time travel.
We have a motion to adjourn
So moved.
and a second,
Second.
non-debatable. All those in favor?
aye.
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 Thank you very much.